Hey, what's up? I'm David Glenn with the Pro Audiophiles and DavidGlennRecording.com. It's been a minute since I've released a tutorial, so I'm excited to be with you guys back contributing to the Pro Audiophiles. I've got an exciting announcement. The tutorial that's about to follow is an excerpt from my new course from within the Mix Academy, and we're calling it Mixing Pop Ballads. This is going to be featuring Jeremy Rosado. He was an American Idol finalist. Incredible talent, incredible voice, and an even better person. Super stoked to be able to feature this song, Save Me, produced by my buddy Victor Encarnacion, Vic the producer. We did this as part of a demo for Jeremy 3 or 4 years ago. And funny story, I was given about 30 minutes to mix this song, and so I finally got my hands on it to give it a proper mix this time around. I've got hours and hours of tutorials in this. I can't remember what the final tally is. I think like 3 hours, but wanted to share with you a quick before and after. They've got the dry tracks I'm going to push up. This was recorded in Vic's basement in Chicago. Incredible musician, incredible producer, great music mind all the way around. And so here's the before and after, and then we'll roll into the excerpt. We've got bass guitar, a couple of different tutorials, managing the low end, some drum tutorials for you that come straight out of the course. Check it out, mixingpopballads.com, and we'll see you in plenty more tutorials to come. Thanks again.
How did I see you with this was? How did I see you with this was going? You still love me, won't you say? Hoping that you still love me, won't you save me? Crying out for myself, I'm not aware.
All right, guys, it's time to break down the drums. Pretty straightforward sample replacement, some tightening up. We walked through the toms. Let's catch you up. So basically, it's starting to sound like a song, and I know I've done a lot to the drums, but I haven't touched the music, and things are kind of feeling good. So it's a good thing. All right, so kick drum. The only thing I've done to the kick so far is replace it. I chose to go with the guys from That Sound. If I go to my DGR folder here, you see I've used the That Sound Ben Phillips library. I've gone to kicks. There's a folder for trigger presets. And I've grabbed the Everyday Natural and the Everyday Rooms. Did I even use the rooms? Yeah, I did. I remember. So let's go trigger, view mixer. Yeah, so just a little bit of the room sound in there. And that took our kick drum from sounding like this. Let me mute the created drum room that I did there. We'll get to that. Here's the original kick. Okay, so I could gate that, EQ the crap out of it. It just, whenever I did that, just gated it and kind of listened, a lot of the cymbal bleed and stuff is coming through. When I record kick, I like to use a kick tunnel or cut a plastic trash can, big garbage can in half and wrap that around the kick, put blankets on top of it so I can isolate the kick mic. And that wasn't done, so we have a lot of cymbal bleed. So I chose to replace it. The first thing, like I said, was Everyday Natural from the That Sound Ben Phillips library. A little bit of dry, a little bit of room sound. And then I didn't even tighten it up. Didn't even use the curves or anything. I just did the range. I reduced the range, so the softest hit is a minimum of 72. I think they're all much louder than that or harder than that. But then the velocity range, you can see I took it from 50, just kind of push that up a little bit to reduce the velocities and then to reduce the dynamic range, or the dynamics between the hits, excuse me. And there you go. So that's for both of those hits. Through VMR on, I wanted a little bit more bottom, and so instead of going to an EQ first, I went to VMR is on here, VCC, excuse me, and I went to the Brit N. The Neve has got a little bit of a fluffy bottom end, so putting that on, go from that to this. Very, very slight difference. I did want more bottom. I wanted more sub. I've got my my M2 looking ridiculous with a backpack on while I mix. But I wanted more subs, so I went to the Pultec from UA. Just boosted, 3 dB of 30 hertz or so, and then it overloaded a little bit on the low end. I could feel it getting dirty, so I just pulled up a slight bit of attenuation to kind of clean it up a hair. You feel that. Here's without it. And then back with it. Just drives it forward a little bit. And I've got that going to a drum room. We'll hear that in a bit. And then we'll talk about sidechain compression in a bit as well. The snare drum, same thing. I chose to replace it completely. Let's come back here. I did reduce the first 2 hits here from being full hits to more of a ghost note, ghosting into the fill. This guy right here. And actually it doesn't even capture that first hit, but that's okay because I have the snare bottom mic I turned into the ghost note track. So here is the snare. Will come out here a little bit. You can see I chose the Fat Favorite. It's my favorite snare drum sound. I use it too much, but I haven't used it. I've been mixing a lot of gospel the past few months, and I haven't used it at all. So I wanted to use it. Fat Favorite Drive. Felt like it fit this song. Okay. Let's see if I messed with the curves. I didn't. I just left it as is for that. But we go to VMR. You can see that's just there. Oh, excuse me. Getting late. The part of my template. And then I threw an SSL on it for, if I remember, a little bit of chunk, 200 hertz. Right there. So here's before the EQ. Little thin. And then just a little more meat. A little more chunk, 150 to 200. Love that in a snare. So straightforward so far. I may do some more stuff, but I didn't want to keep just mixing and leave you guys hanging. So the basic stuff is the drum replacement. I took the snare bottom mic. I duplicated it just in case I have to go back. You can see this is the snare bottom. Okay. And I took out all the stuff that wasn't ghosting. And then I put crossfades on them, fades. I EQ'd it. If I remember, I added some meat. It felt a little bit too like snare bottom mic-ish. And I wanted a little more warmth to it. So 200 hertz has been boosted. I compressed it fairly well to try to get it up there. Yeah, drove the input. Here's without the SSL. With it. Just fills it out, right? Compress it. Get some more love in there. And I've sent that to the room mic. Everything's going to this new Slate Verb. I'm giving it a shot, see what I think about it. This is my first time using it. And anyway, so moving on from the ghost notes, we had the toms. We talked about those. We replaced the toms. I did do one thing to the toms. I added a little more click to a little bit more attack, stick hitting the head to the mid and the top here. And I reduced a little bit more of the sustain from the bottom. And you guys can hear the difference of that probably in like one of these fills here. Gotta love this. So here are the toms. Gotta love it. And then without it. A little more round. Could fit for some genre. I just want a little more click. Cut through the mix a bit more. And that was that with the toms. If I remember, what did I do? Maybe scooped a little bit of the mids. I did. So here's before. Let me solo. A little bit of the boxy kind of tone that I dig for some indie rock stuff. For this, I felt like scooped felt better. Versus a little rounder, a little boxier. So we'll keep that. And those are the toms. I adjust my level on the Studer here to make sure I don't clip it unless I want to clip it. I wanted these to be fairly straightforward, fairly clean, at least for now. The hi-hat. I hate the hi-hat mic. Let's come out here a little bit and let's solo the hi-hat. Here's nothing on the hi-hat. Now, I'm not done mixing this, like I said, so this is just experimenting. VMR is part of my template. EQ-wise, I was trying to just make something out of nothing here. try to feature the sizzle on top. I'm not a huge fan of bright cymbals, but I wanted to try to change the sound of it. So you can see I was just experimenting, honestly. I was trying to fill it out a bit. Then I tried to cut the harshness. I felt like this right here. The transient was right there, and it was a bit much. So before going to a transient designer, I was thinking, let me try to EQ this. So here's before. EQ. Softens it a little bit. Then I compressed it with the SSL. Kind of not doing it for me. So I pulled open Neutron. I just got this. Let's see. And I just went to the compressor. I was thinking I got to use Neutron in this mix. So I just pulled open a compressor, dialed in, just backed off the medium attack, medium release. Feels a little better just to hit it. And then I went to the Neutron. Gotta close, show it, startup, nah. And then I went to this guy here. It's pretty much the Isotope Alloy 2 Transient Designer, but with some more features. And I wanted to pull back the attack. I felt like this was a bit, listen in the mix. I wanted it to be more of an open, washy hi-hat. And so I took some of the attack out. It's still got the, it's not a full open, it's not a full, going at it. So I didn't want to make it washy. I still wanted the separation between the hits, but I feel like actually that sounds better, feels better, add a little bit of sustain to it. So hi-hat, we went from to, remember what I was saying about parallel compression, the kick snare, toms, the hat, that probably would have happened to the hat. That sound right there, the compressed sound, if I would have sent it to the all drums. But again, I like to have individual control over what the metal on the kit is doing, the hat ride and the overhead. So digging that. Overhead wise, I haven't touched the overheads because I didn't like the sound of them. I just kind of left them here, which is just what the natural effect of these plugins being on there will do. I think the API might have a little boost in the top. Yeah, so there's pulls the cymbals out a little bit, but snare is on the left, and I just was not into to featuring them. Let me turn this off, this weird thing I used to do. Okay, so here's our cymbals. And then what I did is I went and hand placed a left crash, a right crash. These came also from the Ben Phillips That Sound library. Go iwantthatsound.com if you guys are new and you haven't heard of them. I used a 18-inch on the left, 17-inch on the right, and I just went through and hand placed. I soloed the overheads, and I'll listen for where the cymbals are hitting, and I just go through and place them throughout the track. And I've done that here. So let's do a little. Here's the intro. We'll go in context to the song. Here's no cymbal hits at all. Just the natural drums. One more time. That's that reverse swell kind of filling it out. Now with the cymbals. You can't tell me that didn't just take it to a whole nother level. So let's come out here where maybe there's a couple fill hits. There's some excitement right here. Listen to that again. Maybe even the end of the song. Listen to that one more time, but without cymbals. Okay, I could turn them up, but they not doing it for me. So here. Last but not least, with the cymbal department, I've got a crash ride, 20-inch crash ride that sounds horrible on its own. It's a robot. but blended underneath, I feel like it fits. It works. So here's without it. Even just some resonant cymbal noise to kind of help fill it out a bit. And we haven't mixed the guitars. They're going to have more top end. Lots of stuff to do still. But that was kind of, I don't know, drum prep, mixing at the same time. We added a little low to the kick. Just the samples we picked sound good. I still may do more. But to me, that just feels good already. Next up, I created a drum room. I was going to go to Ocean Way, UAD. Not everybody has that. So I was like, Slate with his $15 a month bundle. This is now included, so I figured let me give it a shot.